All right, it is 1:20. It's about time to go. Bam!
Oh, six.
Welcome everyone to this special edition of the Craziac Cast, where, as you guys can see by the title and the intro thing we put on Instagram yesterday and everything else, we are going to be joined today by Walt Ruff, the editorial content producer and team reporter of the Carolina Hurricanes, to ask some questions that you guys have submitted in, some that we had, and generally just to get some hype going for this season. Because, hey, the preseason has officially started. We are what, like 3 weeks away from opening night, if not less, at this point?
We are 15 days away from opening night.
15 days. Who's number 15? I don't think we
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What is Rabkin? Is he 17? What is he?
I don't know.
No idea. But yeah, we are getting closer and closer to the start of the regular season for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I, for one, could not be any more excited than I am right now.
Rabkin's 17. That was off. Sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually
flag,
we're
top
16
ball.
days away. I said 8 and we're 16 days away.
So
Well, I know we play the Devils on my birthday at home. I think that's our home opener.
the 9th?
Yeah, October 9th.
October 9th. You know, I'm actually going to be home for that. I'll actually be home that day for fall break, but I don't think I'm going to make it to opening night this year.
I'm hoping that I can. I'll see if I can. I'm gonna talk to some people.
Remember what we said you were going to do for the home opener? You were going to walk around in a white t-shirt with just a QR code taped to the back.
No, it was like a QR code shirt. It's like just full on QR codes, the entire thing.
Exactly. Have you started
you
started working on that yet?
No. I might work on that like on a weekend if I even do it, but I might just do one QR code. We'll see.
No, I think a
Do
better
like
one
one
would just be the
big one on the back.
Big fat QR code on the back would be hilarious.
I just do like, instead of the number, it's just a huge QR code, and then over it, the like name, it just says QR man.
QR man. Hurricanes
Or Carolina
legend.
Craziacs. Either way.
You know what I'm saying? I think you should make the QR code connected to the YouTube channel so that people can subscribe. And if you haven't already in this live stream, you should subscribe.
That was the plan.
Exactly, yeah. If you're in this live stream and you're not subscribed already, what are you doing?
Did you not hear what I said about Alexander Nikishin? He's gonna hit you. Like you gotta subscribe right now.
Yeah, if you don't
What are you
subscribe
waiting
right
for?
now, Alexander Nikishin, the Russian freight train, is gonna come run you over.
Just like last
I don't
night.
want that. I don't want that.
Speaking of last night, interesting game.
Yeah.
I think it was. I'm kind of mad about a challenge in the preseason.
Yeah, what are we doing? It's preseason hockey. Why are we challenging already? I mean, I get that you want your video team to be warmed up and stuff like that, but seriously?
John Cooper's doing
Alright.
John Cooper things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I missed the game. I saw like maybe 5 minutes of the first, but then I was getting ready to go on the ice.
You would not be a fan of the first goal.
Huh?
You would not. The first goal that they scored, your guy kind of had a
yeah.
moment.
No, not Bradley. No.
It's okay.
That
though.
was
that
was pretty
I'll
bad.
say the biggest difference last night, it was fairly easy to tell the difference in the NHL players versus the AHL players. And then you had a couple of guys who were kind of like in the middle. Like I would say like Nadeau was in the middle at points. Charles Alexis Legault has been talked about by a lot of people for his preseason and camp performance and stuff like that. Fensori got a couple mentions last night. Obviously, Justin Robidas has already played in the NHL, but he looked good last night. So there were some players that were non-NHL players that looked decent. I will say Primo.
Yeah,
Primo was okay from what I heard.
He looked like, well, there were some good moments, but he also seemed sluggish at other moments. So, I mean, it's getting back into it. It is the first game of the preseason. It's not even the regular season yet. And the Canes are going against Jonas Johansson, who is a like quality NHL backup. And yeah, I mean, I believe Tampa did start less starters than we did last night, but I feel like the one starter like they put in or I guess it's starter, but the one roster player they put in that made the difference was definitely Johansson last night, and he was good. Oh my goodness, we're 5 minutes early.
Hey, there he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the editorial content producer and team reporter of the Hurricanes, Walt Ruff, everybody.
Fellas, what's going on? Thank you for having me. I was enjoying the conversation, just patiently waiting in the lobby, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to join, and if I get thrown into the fire, I'm thrown into the fire. So what better way to do it?
There you go, absolutely. So, I'm assuming were you at the preseason game last night?
Sure was. It was good to be back at the Lenovo Center and get that hockey feel. The first of, gosh, I don't know how many games are going to be in that building between now and hopefully the middle of June. But, we always joke this time of year, you're striving to hit the 100 club because you get, if you count Prospect Showcase, you got 3, you got 6 preseason, you got 82 regular season. So if you're around that 100 game mark, that means you're doing something right. So hopefully the first of about 100 between now and the late spring, right approaching summer.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel we've probably crossed that 100 game threshold quite a few times in the Rod Brindamore era.
Yeah, we definitely have. It means we've had some shortened summers after, unfortunately, not reaching the ultimate result. But when the team does, it's going to feel that much sweeter.
I love how you say win, because I think we all know that at some point with this core that we have now, it should be coming. And
exactly. You got to believe, right? You got to believe, fellas.
So
Always.
the first thing I want to talk about is the off-season additions brought in this year. Namely, we've got Nikolai Ehlers and Keandre Miller. What have you seen in practice from them? Like, what do you think they add to the team here?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch those guys get up to speed. The fan base was excited, myself included, was excited all summer about bringing these guys in because anytime you can go into an off-season and it was well understood that Nikolai Ehlers was going to be one of the biggest fishes available, and anytime your team can land that guy, you feel good about it. And we know that this team has the ability to get creative during the summers as well. A couple of years ago, nobody knew Brent Burns was available, and then when he was brought in, that was a huge move. Now the very similar situation with Keandre Miller. It's been fun to get to know those guys a little bit. It's only been a couple days so far, but I think we're all pretty excited about Keandre Miller and Jalen Chatfield potentially working together, as well as Nikolai Ehlers skating alongside Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. So hopefully within the next couple of days, I would think tomorrow we'll probably see Nikolai Ehlers, maybe not Keandre Miller. He's obviously still working in the no contact jersey so far, and Rod Brindamore says they're going to be cautious with him. So it might be a little bit till we see him, but just like y'all, I'm excited to see them when the games get going for real.
Is he looking like he'll be on track for opening night, or?
I don't think there's been one comment made one way or the other, to be honest, yet. The only thing Rod Brindamore's explicitly said is that they're just being cautious with him. And, Keandre's been in the league for a couple of years now. He knows what his body can and can't handle. And so when the games get going for real, I think I would feel good that we'll see him probably sooner rather than later.
Awesome.
So the Prospect Series just wrapped up a couple days ago. Which player from the team do you think showed the most potential to crack the roster this year?
Yeah, it's always an interesting question because I think we got a little bit spoiled last year with the whole Jackson Blake situation. It's pretty uncommon year over year that any of those guys make the NHL roster, but obviously Jackson did last year. Now I think a lot of people are wondering who's this year's Jackson Blake, right? Truthfully, I'm not sure that anybody will make the opening night roster out of that group. I know that there are a lot of eyes on Bradley Nadeau during the preseason play because he scored 32 goals in Chicago last year. So offensively, there's not a ton left for him to do, but he's got to round out his game, right? You have to be more than a one-dimensional player to play for Rod Brindamore. So, even if he does go to Chicago, I think that that's totally okay. I heard you guys talking about Justin Robida a little bit earlier. I love his game. I think he's so smart. He's so responsible. You can almost just kind of tell that his dad was an NHL player and is now a coach. But if I had to give you one name who I think we're going to see at some point this season, and other guys you all were appropriately speaking on a moment ago, it's Charles Alexis Legault. He's an absolute unit. The young man's already 6'4", 215 pounds. He plays with some snarl. We know that this is not an overly physical Carolina Hurricanes team, but that's kind of Charles Alexis Legault's calling card. He skates extremely well. When I look at the way he defends, it makes me think of like a Brett Pesce style player, both right-handed, very good gap control, and that's something that Tim Gleason and Rod Brindamore are obviously looking for. We know that this is a team that prioritizes defense first. So now with that being said, I think it's going to take maybe a couple injuries, or it could be the final handful of games of the regular season, which, knock on wood, hopefully the Canes already have a playoff spot locked up like we saw at the end of last year with Dom Fensori and Justin Robida. I think that Charles Alexis Legault is probably maybe one of those guys this year. And also when you look at how much has been talked about with the Canes having 4 left-handed shots and only 2 right-handed shots on the blue line to start this year, Charles Alexis Legault is right-handed. We know that the team prefers to go 3-3, so I think that there's a lot of promise for that young man's career.
I'm not going to lie, that I heard you on, I believe, the first intermission last night talking with Adam Gold.
Yeah.
And I noticed the same things. I mean, I watched a period of the prospect series, and he stood out to me. And then watching last night, I could also tell in that game. So when I heard you talk about, I'm like, okay, this is a guy I need to do a little more research on, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that that's totally fair. I would venture to guess that a lot of people amongst the fan base are probably still learning the name as well. He was a late 5th-round pick only 2 or 3 years ago. So I think that he's the guy who's trending upward on a lot of people's radars right now.
Now, I think, wasn't he with the Syracuse Crunch past season before the Wolves, or how did we end up picking him up?
He was a draft pick in 2023, I believe, and then went to the Chicago Wolves of the American Hockey League last year, and I believe that's his only year pro at the moment.
Okay. I've got another question here about the renovations plan for the Lenovo Center this year and the coming years. What changes do you think will be coming for the Canes home this season?
Yeah, the 2 big ones that the organization's really focusing on right now are the bunker level suites, which are on, the ice level, A level. There's a lot of excitement about them for the clientele that wants to bring out some people to a game, kind of like a high-end experience. But I think for something that I'm a little bit excited to see, and a lot of the fans too, is the 300-level Sky Bar. It's still closed off right now. I think it's on pace to open up early this season, but just a little bit something different. We know that the world's evolving, right? Not everybody wants to go and sit in a seat for 60 minutes and watch the game. You want to be able to have other options while you're there at the game. So the Sky Bar and the bunker suites are the 2 big things that are getting done first. And as you guys all well know, it's going to be a process over many, many years. The whole area around the Lenovo Center is going to look completely different 5-10 years from now. But the process is underway, and it's exciting to see these things finally starting to come to fruition.
Absolutely. Sean, we're going to have to get you to a game whenever that takes place.
Yeah, I know. I have to fly down. It'd be awesome. I'm from Toronto, by the way.
Nice.
So we got our Canadians covered here. So speaking of like exciting potential and stuff, obviously we talked about Ehlers and Miller being like the big fish for free agency and a trade, but arguably, if not definitively, the biggest change this offseason is bringing in Alexander Nikishin for his rookie year in the NHL. And I don't think I've seen more hype behind a Canes prospect ever in my time watching the team. Now, granted, that's a limited 6 years or so, but what do you see in him that justifies all the hype that he's gotten?
Yeah, well, I think you're exactly right. Obviously, I can only speak on the last 5 years, which was when I started with the team, but ever since I arrived in Raleigh in September of 2021, when it was just a year after he was picked, there was a lot of hype already, and it just grew year over year over year. And, he's doing these amazing things over in Russia, and he's the all-star, and he's leading the league in points by a defenseman, and he's finally here. And I had posted last night, it's kind of surreal because we had waited for so many years to see him in a Hurricane sweater. And then he had one of the highlights of the night last night for Carolina. I know they weren't a ton, but that hit he had on Dylan Duke early in the second period, my goodness. I feel pretty confident in saying that's probably the biggest hit late in NHL preseason thus far. I know we were only a couple days in, but he's an absolute monster. And I loved Rod Brindamore's quote after the game about him. And he said he's still kind of just freewheeling and relying on raw talent at this point, because we know that it takes a little bit for players to get used to Rod Brindamore's system. And it's vastly different from the way that the team that he was on in Russia was playing. So it's going to take a little bit of time. There will be some growing pains for Alexander Nikishin along the way. But what we saw last night was just a tiny, tiny glimpse. And man, I'm just excited as y'all to see more of him.
You know, the last check like that I can remember seeing was opening night, I believe in 2023, when Dmitry Orlov in his first game with the team hip checked someone from the Ottawa Senators. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, it's a great callback. That was a good hit. Good open ice hit. You're absolutely right.
The two Russians.
I wish we would have seen more of that from Orlov.
Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
I wish we would have seen more of that from Orlov with his time year. Unfortunately, we didn't, but we saw some of those good hits.
Yeah. I think Nikishin's definitely going to bring that. And like Walt said, if we get Charles Alexis Legault in here at some point, could you imagine like the hits that would be laid out if those two were a pairing together?
Just adds a layer. You know, we heard so much during the playoffs last year about bully hockey and the way that the Florida Panthers play. I think that the Canes have a desire to get there. They're not going to force it. They're not going to rush it. But that would be that's a lot to be excited about for certain.
Well, even with the PTO with Giovanni Smith, I saw he was in a fight with I don't remember who on Tampa last night, but I liked seeing that level of
yeah. I mean, those PTO guys are looking to make an impression, right? And I don't know that Rod Brindamore wants to do it in the fashion of kneeing a guy and then having to drop the gloves, but you're absolutely right in saying that it's never a bad thing to possess the ability to drop the gloves. I loved what we saw the other night from Gabriel Landeskog in Colorado. Cale Makar takes a hit, and there's your captain coming in and stepping in. I love that. I know that fighting's going by the wayside in the game, but I think that there is still a role for it, and you have to have someone who is at least willing to.
Another guy whose name I heard quite a bit last night was Tyson Jost. We know that he's kind of a, we'll call it tweener, so generally the first guy up from the A to come when someone's hurt. What do you think his role? Do you think his role will be something similar this year as it was last year?
In a perfect world, if everybody's healthy, probably so. I believe we saw him in 39 games last year, and that's, about what you kind of want to expect, right? Because injuries are inevitable. Somebody's always going to go down. What I like about Tyson is that he has the ability to play both the center and the wing. Having that versatility, because let's be honest, he's probably never going to be your 1C or your 2C. If you do, you've got a lot of injuries or something's going astray. But when you need a guy like you had referenced to recall from Chicago, he can play at the NHL level. He showcased that. He's a depth option. We know that this organization prioritizes depth as well. So if everybody's healthy, hopefully he's doing great things in Chicago. And I think it's also a valuable piece to have there, because look at how young Chicago's roster is. And I know that I'm not calling Tyson Jost an old man by any stretch of the imagination, but he's been around the block for a couple years now, right? He knows, he can still play at a high level, and he can help lead some of these guys who are 20, 21 years old. So I think it's great that the organization kept him around for another year.
Speaking of players that we have just resigned or just gotten for a year, I was very interested to see about Kevin Labanc last night and his unfortunately called back goal. But what do you think about him?
Yeah, first of all, great play by Tyson Jost. I know it came out of the zone by just a couple inches, but I think Kevin Labanc made an impression last night, and I think that's what you're looking for, because he got an assist on the power play goal. Obviously, it was Carolina's only one of the night. He had a would-have-been goal, so I would assume that there are some eyebrows on the bench being raised when he does some things like that. And this is a guy, too, who I don't even know if necessarily you could fully call him a tweener, because he played the entire year in the NHL last year. So it's interesting that he finds himself in this spot again, because last year he was on a PTO with New Jersey Devils in camp and got signed by the Columbus Blue Jackets. So if he has another great training camp, even if there's not room in Carolina, somebody's watching, right? Because like we were just speaking on a moment ago, injuries are inevitable. You can only have as much depth as you think you do. And when somebody goes down, do you have guys who can play at the NHL level? And Kevin Labanc can still play at the NHL level. So whether it's here in Carolina or elsewhere, Obviously, I'm hopeful for his sake that he'll get a shot.
For players fitting in Carolina, I love to talk about the guys that are like lower down, and of course injuries are inevitable, but speaking of some of the players that are currently on the roster, where do you think guys like Stankoven, Blake, and Hall fit into the lineup this season in terms of their chemistry with the other forwards?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought some of those guys up, because when you talk about Logan Stankoven and Taylor Hall, we think of them as Hurricanes now, but they only came in midway through last season, right? I think from last night's preseason roster, Jackson Blake was the only guy who played more than 40 games with the Hurricanes last year, which is crazy to think about, because this has been a roster that's so much was made this time last year about how the roster turned over because so many guys went out the door in free agency. There's been a considerable amount of retooling done on the fly over the last year. We talked about Alexander Nikishin a minute ago. He's just coming in. Taylor Hall, acquired midseason. Logan Stankoven, acquired midseason. So I think the fact that the Canes are finding ways to utilize all these pieces, and not just utilizing them, they're going out and getting them. Like Eric Tulsky's famous quote on Logan Stankoven is, he was built in a lab to be a Hurricane. If you have somebody who's built in a lab to be a Hurricane, you want him to be a Hurricane. And I think Taylor Hall, too, when I think about him, I love the fact that he's gone from, over the course of a year, to having to be this top-line guy on a young Chicago team that, probably doesn't really have playoff aspirations, to coming to a competitor where thus far in training camp, I know Rod Brindamore doesn't number his lines, but he's on the fourth line. And if you got a guy who's a former MVP and a guy who's hung in the scoring race for a couple of years on your fourth line, that's a pretty good sign. And we've used the term depth already this season. So, I started to think about how many other teams around the league have a fourth line that could hang with that. Say opening night were tonight, and you've got a fourth line of Taylor Hall, Eric Robinson, and either potentially Mark Jankowski and or another center, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. That's a pretty good fourth line, right? There's some teams that have fourth lines filled with, tweeners, if you will, like we used the term a moment ago. You're probably not hanging with a guy like Taylor Hall, who still has it. So I love the question, and honestly, I love thinking about the role that those guys could have this season.
And so you brought this up, and last night intrigued me. So last night, Logan Stankoven was the first line center on the preseason roster, which intrigues me, because the one spot on this Canes roster that we don't really know about being set is that second line center position. And I'm sure that there's been talks about that within the team for a long time now, because, through the off season and all that, that's been the question that's been going around the entirety of Canes media, is who's going to be the second line center for opening night. And so I get the feeling that we still don't know right now who it would be. But what did you see from Stankoven last night in terms of playing center?
Yeah, you're spot on, Carter. I mean, really, it's been kind of a glaring issue since Vincent Trocheck left during the summer of 2022. He got that big deal with the New York Rangers. It was extremely well-deserved. They've lacked a natural right-handed center for some time now. And of course, they've given Jesperi Kotkaniemi the opportunity to continue to grow into that role, and now it's time to give that opportunity maybe to somebody else. Can you get by with Jesperi Kotkaniemi as your number 2C? Absolutely. Does he maybe have an opportunity to play more of his game in the 4C role? Potentially. But through one game, I think it's so far a thumbs up for Logan Stankoven. Now, you're absolutely right. We're a long ways away from October 9th opening night. A lot's going to happen between now and then. You guys know Rod Brindamore. The lines are probably going to change 6 different times over the next 17 days or whatever y'all mentioned until we have to opening night. So it's a day-by-day thing, really. But when we asked him post-game last night, it seemed like a pretty positive review for Logan Stankoven playing the middle. I got to sit down with Logan on Friday and ask him for his take on the situation, and he had played center all the way until he hit the pro level, which was only 2-3 years ago at this point. And he said the only reason he wasn't playing center, which I found fascinating to learn, was because in the American Hockey League, he was on a line with Maverick Bourque, who was one of Dallas's previous first-round picks. So he got the opportunity first. He was just a year older and was there sooner. So, maybe it's just a natural opportunity for Logan Stankoven to go back to what he considers his most natural position. He said he knows he needs to be good at faceoffs. He needs his defensive responsibility to continue to grow, but Rod Brind'Amour loves his ability to be creative through the middle of the ice, and we know that this team really has a desire for more creativity, which of course you're hoping leads to more goal scoring. So far so good for Logan Stankoven. That could change tomorrow, but for the here and now, I think everybody's pretty happy with it.
I mean, Logan Stankoven's first goal with the Hurricanes was him being net front for Connor Hellebuck against Winnipeg. And I remember sitting in the stands that game being like, why is little Logan Stankoven our net front right now? But it worked.
I mean, calling a spade, that's one of his biggest knocks, right? It's the size. He's not a very big guy. But then you look at where he always is, and that's in and or around the net or around the dirty areas. You kind of just have to let some of this stuff go by the wayside, because how many times have we seen that now in recent years? Wasn't that one of Seth Jarvis's biggest knocks? Oh, he's not very big. He goes to the hard areas of the ice all the time. So these guys have a willingness to do the hard things. And of course, you kind of need to under Rod Brind'Amour, but that's that Carolina culture.
And then one more question, one more thing here. This is something we've talked about kind of on stream when we're trying to figure out the 2C situation. If Stankoven does get that spot, do you feel that Kotkaniemi would fit as a good winger on the third line with Stahl and Martinook?
I think it's something we might see. I think that would be a work in progress in terms of figuring out if Stankoven does stay there for a little bit. I could also see a world where it's just a small experiment for Stankoven. We know he can play on the wing in this lineup, right? We saw he had a pretty successful final 20 games of the regular season, and then I believe he led the rookies in points in playoffs. So we know he can play the wing. Now it's just a matter of how much runway does he have to play center, and if that does stick for a little bit, you bring up a good point. Maybe we see Jesperi Kotkaniemi in a different role, because if down the middle, again, hypothetically, if opening night were tonight, if you go Sebastian Aho, Logan Stankoven, Jordan Stahl, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, where does Mark Jankowski fit in? He's a natural center. So I think that there's some fluidity to the entire situation, which is what makes this time of year so fun.
Now, I know you mentioned Jordan Stahl's name, and we have a question here about that. His impact as the team's captain, as well as other leadership roles from veterans in the locker room. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Sean, because maybe a guy like Jordo doesn't get the credit he deserves, because there's a lot that goes on that we don't see. Even I don't see, right? To the media, I think, he has a way of commanding the locker room. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to all the time, but when there's a time for a voice to be heard, there's a reason why when you ask Rod Brind'Amour about what goes on in the locker room, he always points to his leadership group. He knows that those guys have him. He knows that Jordan Stahl is going to convey the same message that the coaching staff wants. He knows that sometimes it's not always Jordan Stahl. It can be Sebastian Aho, who's, one would think, probably the future captain of this organization, right? Somewhere down the line, whenever Jordo's done. But you've also got guys like Jordan Martinook, who we know he's loud, but he's a dead serious individual when it comes time for it, and he can carry that message. Jacob Slavin, we know he means business. He can send out that same message. So a lot of people talk about the culture with the Carolina Hurricanes, and the more you look around the league and wonder, does that organization have the same culture? That's not a knock on them. Maybe they have it in a different way, right? Maybe it's a very strong head coach's message that he's the one dictating it every single day. But with Rod Brind'Amour, his culture is, I have my message. Maybe I don't need to be the guy, in his terms, driving the bus every single day. He always talks about everybody having a seat on the bus, and sometimes it's got to be somebody else pulling the rope. There's that accountability within the Hurricanes locker room, and I think that especially when you've got a guy like Jordan Stahl wearing the C, you've got a good leadership group in there.
I feel like Rod's very much a player's coach.
Yeah, that phrase always trips me up a little bit, because of course you ask all 32 coaches, are you going to go to bat for your players? Everyone's going to say yeah, right? But I think that, in a sense, all of the guys absolutely respect Rod, and they know that he's going to put the work in. Like, when they get to the rink, Rod's already in the gym. Like, it's just that accountability and wanting to go into the fire with the next guy because you have a head coach that leads by example.
I've got a really...
Well, I mean, Rod could still probably play hockey at the NHL level. I mean, his physique, like, of course.
100%. And I think that goes a long way, right? The phrase lead by example. And Rod Brindamore does that.
I mean, my favorite Rod Brindamore story personally is I went to one of the practices at Invisalign Arena, and it was before I had this jersey, but I wanted to like meet him and like, get a picture with him or whatever. And so the entirety of the team is gone. I think it's when Chatfield's injured, so he came out about 20 minutes after everybody else. And the only person we knew left was that was in there was Rod. And it's raining outside, so we're like huddled up in rain jackets, me and one of my other friends. And he comes out an hour later after Chatfield leaves. He's like, "Well, you guys outlasted me." He was in there lifting weights an hour plus after practice was over.
Lead by example, right? That's what it always comes back to. First one in, last man out. He gets it, right? He played at the high level for a very long time, was a very good player. He's a should-be Hall of Famer. When you've got a guy like that leading your organization, it's not a surprise why the Canes have been a playoff team the last 7 years.
So we've got one more position that kind of gets talked about quite a bit. And this one I feel is more due to injury than anything, but the goaltending situation. Because we unfortunately know that with Freddie Anderson, there's a high likelihood of repeat injuries occurring, which, to be completely honest, has not hindered us too bad in the past couple of years because, I mean, he'll sit out for half the regular season, come back in, get a couple reps in before the playoffs, and then he's been really good in the playoffs for the most part the last couple of years. And I know you've talked with the Surge Cast before, and I saw maybe a month or so ago, they mentioned giving Piotr the starter's crease this year to kind of see what you have in him if you need him to be your like main starter. And I guess kind of the idea is looking for when Freddie is inevitably going to be, on a different team or retire because he is getting up there in age. What do you think about letting Kochetkov have the starter's crease for this season?
No, Rod Brindamore was asked about that over the weekend, and he said in a perfect world, and to be honest, this has kind of been his same answer the last couple of years. It's in a perfect world, it's 41 games for Frederik Andersen, 41 games for Pyotr Kochetkov. If he can do the 50-50 split, that's what they're going to do. Now, it's how do you adapt when, as we've said several times already, that inevitability of injuries happens. And we've seen Pyotr get hurt over the years too, right? He's missed some time, so where I would go with this one is the organization got real serious about addressing depth over the summer. This time last year, they had Spencer Martin coming up. Yaniv Peretz was coming behind him. Ruslan Hajayev was in his first year pro. They went out and got guys who have played at a very high level now. If Frederik Andersen goes down, I think the first recall would probably be Caden Primo, who won the AHL's Best Goaltending Duo award last year for his work in Laval. I thought he looked pretty good last night, to be honest. So there's your number 3. Amir Miftakov, who's been really strong in the KHL the last couple of years, as your number 4. So there you go. I mean, now knock on wood, hopefully you don't need more than 4 goalies. Yeah. We've seen it happen over the last couple of years. And then, of course, you've got Ruslan Hajayev and Nikita Kwap as your 5 and 6. So they've got 6 signed goalies coming into this season. You're absolutely right that injuries are going to happen. It's just a matter of what they do when they do happen. But the odds that one of or multiple of those 4 are playing well when you need one, you feel good about the odds, so that way, to throw it back to last year, you're not having to sign Dustin Tokarski to come off the street, right? He did a great job when he had to come up for Chicago, but the organization really shored up that ship before this season took off.
To stay on the goalies there for just a second, I know we drafted Semyon Frolov, who is an incredible prospect. When do you think the window is that he'll ever come over to Carolina, or what do you think about him and the whole situation and everything?
Yeah, like we see with a lot of drafted goalies from overseas, they have several years left on their contracts with their current team. So I think it might be a little bit for Frolov yet. Another name that I'm keeping close tabs on, Igor Velmakin. He had come over for development camp a couple of years. So I think that there's some real potential there. He's played in some KHL games in the last couple of years with Minsk, so I think there's some real potential there. And now in North America, Ruslan Hajev, his year-over-year growth is really high too. So when I think about the future of goaltending with the organization, you're right. You think about Frolov because he was the first pick this year, but then between Velmakin and Hajev, I think the Canes have some real potential coming up at the position.
Here's the question. I mentioned this on a video that I talked about. I think it was the Kochetkov career simulation we did. Do you know who the goalie was when the Hurricanes last picked a goalie with their first pick in the draft?
Cam Ward. Sure do. Looked into that one right away when they picked Frolov at this summer's draft. I thought, wow, I don't know how many times that's happened. And sure enough, Cam Ward's the only one, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Pretty funny because Carter likes to reference that we drafted, the Tennessee Titans quarterback.
Hey, the hockey goalie Cam Ward has poked fun at that too. I remember on NFL draft night, he posted a video of him on his couch, and he's like, "I got drafted first overall."
Love Cam. But speaking of goalies' defensive play, it's been a little bit up and down on who's going to be in the top pairing with Slavin this year. And of course, Rod's going to like to experiment with a lot of different options. So once things start to settle out and start to come together, who do you think is going to end up being that top pairing with Slavin?
Yeah, I think that's still a little bit of a TBD. Obviously, it stinks not having Jacob on the ice right now through the first couple practices of training camp. But if I had to guess based on some things, I think we might see Sean Walker in that role, at least to start. Now, again, like the rest of the lineup, I think it's going to be fluid, but I say Sean Walker because when you look at what else has gone in training camp, you've had Keandre Miller with Jacob Slavin, and then you've also had Alexander Nikishin with Shane Gostisbehere, and you've had Mike Riley, who probably is planned to be your seventh defenseman this year. We see that they kind of use that Band-Aid type system. So you've got Riley, who's also a left-handed shot, working with Sean Walker. So you've got the lefty-righty pairing going on right there. And I think Sean Walker, another guy who came to the organization last summer, showed that there might be some more offensive potential in his arsenal. So I think we might see that at some times, but I think it might move around a little bit too, because again, when you've got all these different pieces, if that's the way it's going to shake down, that means Shane Gostisbehere is playing his offside. How's that going to work? We won't really know till the games get going, right? If you need to move him back to the left, who goes over to the right? You're probably not going to put Alexander Nikishin there because you want him to feel as comfortable as possible. So he's going to want to play his natural side on the left. But again, it's just that trickle down, right? Is it Keandre Miller moving to his offside? Do you give that a chance because there's some potential there? Is it Jalen Chatfield coming up? So I think we're going to see a variety of different things over the first few months of the season. I really do, until we really settle in on something. But it would not surprise me if Sean Walker gets the first crack.
I do have one question about Nikishin because I saw a stat online that I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it said that about 80% of the play time that Nikishin had in the KHL, he was playing on his offside. Is that true?
That's a good question. I can't say I'm overly familiar with KHL advanced stats, but I would believe it to be true because he was obviously playing at a very high level over there. And anytime you're a multi-time all-star and leading the league in scoring by defensemen, you kind of have the ability to do what you want. But now he's adjusting to a different size ice surface, different system. So do I think that he has the potential to play his offside in the NHL? Absolutely. One day. I know he's going to get there. But for the here and now, do I think they're going to ease him into that progression? I do.
I don't know how much more time for questions you have, but I know we've got one written down here.
Yeah, go ahead.
About the ceiling for this year's Carolina Hurricanes and which teams in our division do you think will be competitive to get that number one spot in the Metro?
Well, listen, fellas, I'm an optimistic person at heart, and I'd be lying if I said anything other than I think this can be a Stanley Cup team, right? It almost kind of feels, as we sit here on September 23rd, I know that crazy things happen during the hockey season, but look at all we've seen during the last couple of years. We've seen goalies go down. We've seen mid-season major trades, and they still find a way to be a playoff team. I think it comes back to the culture. I firmly believe in my heart of hearts right now, if we fast forward to the third week of April, this team's in the playoffs. And I mean, you look around too at some like I always laugh at like the gambling odds, the betting odds, and it's like, If you put $10 on the Carolina Hurricanes to make it to the playoffs, you'd win 91 cents. Real whopping number, right? So like it's almost a lock. This is a playoff team. Anything happens when you get in, right? It's a factor of who's hot, who's healthy, who's got good goaltending. And I think that the Canes can be all three of those things. So the ceiling, Stanley Cup, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not really going out on a limb on saying that. We know that Eric Tulsky will say that. We know that Rod Brindamore will say that. We know that just about anybody in the locker room will say that. So I firmly believe they can be there in the middle of June. As far as the division, I think that's a fascinating question because you look up and down. I think almost every team has a chance to be a playoff team, right? There's so much buzz about the New York Rangers and the moves that they made in the offseason. They've got a new captain now and JT Miller and Mike Sullivan behind the bench. I think they could be a playoff team. The New Jersey Devils are on the rise with some of these players that they've coming out. Like Jack Hughes is one of the legit best players in the league now. I think they could be a playoff team. The Philadelphia Flyers are hoping to grow off of what they did last year. Same thing with the Columbus Blue Jackets. They knocked on the door. The Washington Capitals were the best team in the Metro last year. So, you keep going up and down, and that's not to omit the New York Islanders and Pittsburgh Penguins, who, oh, by the way, still have Sidney Crosby. I think anything's possible in this division, which makes a lot of these games this year really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I agree with you. Yeah.
I'm hoping obviously it's Carolina, but I hope a Metro team makes the Cup final this year because I, for one, am kind of sick of the Florida Atlantic teams making the Cup finals the last 6 years. Would love to see it be someone else.
I'm with you, and hopefully it's these guys this year as we're all repping right now. I think that's what we want to see, right?
Absolutely.
100%.
Just kind of crazy, though, because the last time a Metro team made the Cup final was when the Caps won it.
We're due. We're due, fellas.
Yeah, we
are
due.
indeed due.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today. It was great to talk with you again. Really looking forward to this season. Maybe if I can, I'm 2+ hours away, but I'll be at some games this season. I won't be able to make it to as many. I know Jack can probably make it to some. I don't know if you heard us joking about it in the before we started about Jack going to opening night in a white shirt with just a big old QR code slapped on the back of it.
Marketing 101. I like the idea, fellas. Your head's in the right place. But no, seriously, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. Obviously, perfect timing with this being the first off day of training camp. Still giving me something to do. So I appreciate all three of you. And good luck with the rest of the show.
All right. Thank you, Walt.
Awesome. Thank you so
guys.
much.
Have a good one.
You as well.
You
Bye.
too.
Well, that was awesome and incredible to talk to him.
That was awesome, guys. That's great.
It was not rough. It went pretty smooth.
That was terrible, Jack. That was
Do you have the soundboard? Can you hit get out?
I don't have that one programmed on there, but
No.
yeah.
You can do the one with me screaming when we lost the Leafs.
Yeah, that's about how that went. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
A lot of great insight from Walt there. Got through just about all the questions we had. So yeah,
Well, I think we did. It's just because the one he kind of already answered on the number 6 he answered on question number 2 for us.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we did get him.
I mean, we got through all 10. We actually got a little longer. I didn't want to keep him over too long, but yeah, I mean, great talking to him. Would love to, do that again sometime. But just looking at like the roster for this year and some of the stuff he was talking about, what do we think the Rangers become if they end up landing Kaprizov?
No.
I don't think they will land him in.
I hope not. That would be
Who are they
terrible.
gonna have to trade though? They'd have to trade somebody to get Kaprizov.
Well, the thing is too, Panarin wants out, right?
That's true.
But
If
will
they
the
get-
Wild really want to get Panarin when they're trying to get younger?
Are they trying to?
I mean, but I'm just trying to think. Who are
I mean,
you?
they're a
supposed-
young team that's trying to be good, and you're gonna have Panarin for how long, realistically?
But like, who are you going to trade from the Rangers to Minnesota for Kaprizov? You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to have
they
a
did-
good winger.
They did get a first-round pick from us for Keandre Miller, so you can throw him. You can throw in. I mean, I'm not sure what their depth looks like, but Scott Morrow could get passed around again as a prospect.
Well, I mean, but like
Funny.
our first round pick's not going to be worth a lot.
No, it's not.
No.
I
You know what I
for
mean?
reasons we discussed, like we are probably, I feel like bare minimum we should be conference finals team this year. This to me on paper is the best Hurricanes roster in the Rod Brindamore era.
Also, sorry, just to double back because you talked about the picks. I don't think that people are going to be trading first round picks a lot this year because I saw an article about it
this
because
is gonna be the
it's the
bad
McKenna
draft.
draft.
This is the McKenna draft.
Yeah.
So,
This draft is supposed to be having a lot of depth in it.
yeah, and it's not just McKenna too.
Well,
Like
yeah.
there's a whole lot of depth in this one. Like I'm pretty sure Schaefer, who went first overall in last year's draft, would probably be like 4th or 5th overall in this year's draft, if not lower.
Oh yeah, he's dropping 5 if he was in ours.
So, I mean, I'd love.
I'm just gonna try to open up the.
I am
love
very
to
interested
see-
at one thing that he said. I've been wanting to try and get this off because like this is something I hadn't heard before, and I expected to hear a couple things that I had heard before, and like maybe some things like just get reaffirmed and hear his opinion on them. But one thing really stood out to me, and he was talking about Logan Stankoven. He said that the only reason that Logan Stankoven was not playing center for the Dallas Stars or the Texas Stars was because of is it Maverick Bork?
Maverick Bork.
Yeah,
Yep.
not
Yeah.
Ray Bork. Yeah,
Oh.
Maverick Bork. I found that very interesting because that meant that he didn't move to wing because it was like, oh, it just worked out that way. He needed to be wing. Like they put him at wing because they wanted him to have top line minutes, but they wanted Maverick Bork to play like center there. So I find that really interesting because I did hear about how Stankoven was naturally a center forever. And, you know, as I had posted on the Instagram a couple of days, he said it feels natural to me to play at center. So going on this route, I'm starting to really like the idea of Stankoven playing that 2C position. Now we'll see what happens, but it's looking a little bit more promising each time I talk about it.
And I think that's a much better. To me, that's the better option currently. Like I love KK. I'm a KK fan, but I think 4th line suits him far better than a 2nd line because you want your top 2 lines to be good scoring lines, and you've obviously got your 3rd line, which is all defense and all checking, and then you've got your 4th line.
You know how Rod.
Well,
says,
and let's not forget too about Stankoven, but at the World Juniors, he played with Connor Bedard and was a part of how good Team Canada was. And I'm not saying, Connor Bedard's like McDavid or saying that Svechnikov's like Bedard, but if you play Stankoven with Svech, and I don't remember do we saying Blake is going to be on that 2nd line?
Likely.
I mean, let's think about it. Your top 3 are clearly Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers. And then you could even I guess your 2nd line at that point, assuming KK gets moved down and it's Stankoven, becomes Svechnikov, Stankoven, and Blake.
If Blake turns into that offensive firepower player that we've seen glimpses of last year, that 2nd line can be really good.
Yeah, I mean, the whole
to come.
roster becomes really good at that point. Like your top, I mean, you can't say they were like a Florida Panthers level depth for the top 6 at that point, but you're close to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Like,
I do find it
it's gonna be
interesting what
fun.
we're going to do because I think if Rod wants to go full defense for that defensive line with Stahl and Martinuk, and now that Stankoven, let's say Stankoven does end up at 2C, I think the best, I want to hear your opinions on this, but I think a really good option would be to put Carrier there.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what it was last year before Carrier got hurt. I think that's naturally, if Carrier is playing, he's playing on that 3rd line. Now, Carrier is another one of those 3 guys who's been mentioned in being the healthy scratch. But if Carrier's playing on the 3rd line. Honestly, I think the healthy scratch, unfortunately, is going to be Mark Jankowski.
Which stinks, but
it does
Hear me
stink.
out. Throw Bradley Nadeau on the 3rd line on the right side wing.
No.
I thought his big
I'm not-
issue was that he's not the best defensively
No,
yet.
he's not. I mean, I guess you could learn from Jordan Stahl, but that's not the way you want to handle this at all.
And especially because he's a left winger, if anything. So you'd be putting him on the right wing because Jordan Martinook plays left side.
No. I'm sorry, Sean.
Just give him minutes.
Like,
Bradley Nadeau does not have a spot on the current roster. He just, I mean,
I tried, guys.
Last night he looked good. He looked really good. He looked like probably the 4th or 5th best forward on the team last night, behind, Jost, Stankov, and Blake, and Taylor Hall.
I have an interesting proposition for a couple years down the line. So we know Nadeau's going to be a good player. Let's say we keep him, right?
Mm-hmm.
No trades, no nothing. The roster stays as is, and we just keep moving on. I would find it very interesting because I've heard you talk about this before, that the third line needs an offensive firepower weapon, right? So if Nadeau ends up being the player that we want, right? I'm not saying to put him on the third line. I'm saying, what if you put Nadeau at second line left wing and you put Svechnikov on that third line right wing?
I mean, I like that. I think that Svechnikov as a player and his build and stuff would do good on that line. And plus, that gives him the chance to be the scoring winger on a line. Because, I mean, playing with Aho and Jarvis, like, those two score goals. If you're playing with Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook, you're going to have the puck for 80% of your shift. But the problem is you're going to have the puck on your stick for 80% of your shift.
So you're giving him a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're giving him a lot of responsibility. You will have the puck, but you don't, I mean, that line doesn't generate a whole ton of scoring chances. Ironically, the most scoring chances that line gets is whenever Martinook and Stahl are killing penalties.
That is true.
So, I mean, I think the idea of putting Svechnikov there is actually a good one. I just don't know how soon we would ever see that.
It would have to be in like 2 or 3 years down the line.
And obviously with Nadeau coming up, it's a whole different situation. Like Walt said earlier, we're going to have so many line juggles this season because we've got so much depth. Like, I think the only line that I could say pretty certain is going to stay consistent is going to be that top line. And who knows?
Forbidding injuries.
Yeah, I mean, taking injuries out of the equation and the potential for Nikolai Ehlers to have some growing pains with the new team. That line is pretty set. But other than that, like, the lineup's pretty fluid. I mean, you're not going to move Stahl and Martin up from the third line. I don't know when the last time we saw that was. I think at one point Martinook was a first liner for like a couple games.
I don't remember.
Well, he's playing with Aho for a little bit, right?
Yeah, he was. He was
the dark
he was
ages.
He was a first liner for a few games, which was interesting to say the least.
Well, I mean, I'm not okay. This may be a hot take, but like, especially in the playoffs, because I remember he was it the playoffs? Anyways, but I know we start the third line at home. But the way Martinook plays his game, and like the power forward aspect, like I didn't mind him when he was playing with Aho. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like
I didn't either, but Martinook's the perfect player to pair up with Jordan Stahl.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I don't think I think Martinook is a plug guy. You could put Martinook on just about any line and he would perform pretty well. He is getting up there a bit in age, so I'm not sure you'd want him playing on the first line currently. Especially when you have the guys that you have.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
Matt asks,
Matthew hit us.
Oh, I got it.
Oh yeah, you saw it too. Okay.
What improvement do we think the prospects need to make? An obvious one for me is settling pucks in the offensive zone, which was a bit of a problem. Yeah, that was a bit of a problem, but that also could be like, first preseason game jitters. I get that most of them played in the prospect series, but you've got to think that most of these guys haven't played a whole lot of hockey during the offseason, and those that have probably, they might not have played together. And so I think gap control, like Walt was saying, was not spectacular at certain points in the games. In the game, like Primo had to make quite a few saves in the slot or in the prime shooting position because guys were playing too much man to man and not gapping up the way they were supposed to. you could, and that's kind of what I said earlier before Walt was on about. You could tell who were NHL players and who were not. The gap control in the NHL players was good. Nikishin did have one or two lapses, but I don't think they scored on either of them. So
yeah, I found it interesting because the other day I just watched a video from 99.9 The Fan on I don't remember what the show exactly is called, but it's the Carolina show, and it's run by Adam Gold.
Oh, the Adam Gold show.
Yes. Well, there we go. Okay. So I watched a video from him yesterday, and most of what Walt Ruff had to say today was very similar to what he had to say.
Mm-hmm.
So watching it, the video that I watched from him was who's next year's Jackson Blake, and they had the very similar take of saying Charles Alexis Legault.
Yeah. And
of course they're both right in front of the scene and they're both seeing it all. That right shot defenseman. I think that would be very interesting. And, I'm excited to see what would happen with him, because that's not a name, as you said earlier, that's not a name that we're all familiar with. That's a guy that we know we drafted, but it's is it Andrei Krutov? Who's this guy?
He's going to be there, I think. I think he'll be an enforcer defenseman. He's not going to put up a whole bunch of points, and he's not going to be the most. I mean, he'll be good defensively. Think of Jalen Chatfield defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference in his game and what we need is the fact that he will go out there and he will lay somebody out on defense. And we don't have that anymore. I mean, I guess we've got it with Nikishin, but Nikishin's got to
guess.
I know, but he's got to get comfortable playing in the NHL first.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
By the time Charles Alexis Legault comes up, you would hope that Nikishin is, a top 10 defenseman in the league. If not better, who's flying out there and making all these huge hits. But you don't know. Maybe Nikishin ends up being a good offensive defenseman with good defense and is not the super big physical kind. I mean, I know his nickname is Boom. We're all expecting him to go out there and lay some thunderclaps on everybody. And
he did last night.
Knock him, slam out. But
I hope. Okay, sorry.
How many players do we see in the league that's their main game right now?
Not
5.
many.
Not too many. Just something to think about. Martinez, Leafs. Leafs in 7.
I find it really interesting that sorry, I just wanted to get this out since we were talking about it. I find it really, how we were so acquainted to Jacob Slavin, just doing Jacob Slavin things, and when they see it in the tournament, they're like, "Whoa, this guy's crazy!" Nobody really talks about it. I hope that's how Nikishin is with a big hit. We just see a big hit every game, and we're like, yeah, that's just Nikishin. He's just doing Nikishin things.
I don't know about that, because big hits always drive excitement. So
they do, but I hope that I know they drive excitement, but I hope that's what he does. That's his thing.
That'd be great.
Okay, also, I just want to say the whole Legault thing. I've had for the past month or so, I've had him mixed up with another player. I had him mixed up with love that guy, but no, Alexis Barré-Boulet, who played for the Syracuse Crunch, then the Habs. Now I guess he's on the Avs.
But
he plays center. Yeah, he plays center, not defenseman. But I had the two mixed up.
That's all right.
That's on me.
Hey, same first name.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't really like this other mind.
Hey, that's fair.
So, we exposed the plan, Jack. So now if you show up to opening night wearing a QR code shirt, maybe you'll get special treatment.
Maybe. I don't know where I'll be. I'll probably be on the 3rd floor.
You get to go sit in the bar, the standing bar.
I'll probably head over there and take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, take pictures. Got to be our media guy, since me and Sean live
everywhere.
Driving distance and country flight distance away. You're gonna have to be our guy this season. Oh, speaking of which, I have a huge revelation, guys.
Shoot.
The second order of business cards are here.
Yes.
Okay.
I have not opened them yet.
I gave away one yesterday. I'm down to like 5.
Oh goodness. So
Yeah,
I
I need some of those.
I don't know how.
How do I print them off? Can I print them off or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
So
print them. Where did you print yours at, Carter?
I did it on 360onlineprint.com. We get emails from them all the time on ways to save money. So if you just catch them when a deal's good, you can get like I always order 1,000 and it ends up being like less than $20.
Jesus. Okay.
Let me
Yeah,
know
it's
when they
pretty
have a
good, though.
deal, because I'm not like with them or anything. Because I'd like to order some.
Again, just check the Craziac email. It's in there all the time. They send us like we're valuable customers to them, I believe. So
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I'll go get some then too.
but
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Get it
and
out.
also
And
just to shout it out, we averaged on this stream about 12 viewers during the whole
Oh,
thing,
let's go.
which
And we
good
jumped up
average.
to
jumped up to
13 for a second too.
15. 15's our highest. So
Dang,
thank you.
let's go.
Thank you
this
to
will get more
everybody.
views later though, because
Yeah.
let's be honest, it was the middle of the day on a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Exactly.
Like-
So
Oh, yeah.
For those of you that showed up today and watched this stream through in its entirety in the middle of the day, thank you so much. I know there's definitely better things you could have been doing with your day, but hopefully hearing the insight from us dummies and Walt Ruff was worth your time today.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Yeah, we
Also,
really do have the best fan base out there.
if you
The
see
best,
QR
the
code
best.
man at a game,
Scan
that's not me.
it. That absolute. If you see QR code man at a game, that is definitely you.
No, no. Yo, I'm completely joking. Yeah, if you see me, come up, say hi.
Or any of us for that matter. Now, if
And
you
scan the
If
QR
you
code.
see them at a game,
if you see
that's
Sean,
kind of crazy.
if you see Sean at a game, you might you might want to check it. We definitely need to get you to a game this season if at all possible.
It's just really expensive for like a flight to get there, man. It's
it's the flight.
Drive.
drive. That's even worse.
That is worse.
Nah.
I mean, I'm sure we could get you on like some Spirit Airlines flight.
Okay. That'd be
You-
cool. I mean,
you gotta look for
cra-
you gotta look for the budget airliners that have a slightly higher percentage of their plane crashing. But it's only slightly
Oh.
it's only slightly higher.
It's like 1% to like
Yeah,
1.2.
Exactly. Like
I promise I'll go to an away game for them playing the Leafs. I'll bring a
I
couple of
know,
my
but-
friends, force them to wear jerseys.
I know what I'm saying is that we gotta get you to a home game so the three of us can go to a game together.
Question about that actually.
Oh my
During
goodness.
the playoffs, would I technically not be allowed to watch them play since I'm not from Carolina, even though I'm a Canes fan? Because I saw there was something
That-
about that.
That's something that they
No, we could buy the tickets
Yeah.
and then you can just come with us. Like you can pay us back. We'll just
Yeah.
do a separate transaction.
no,
Oh,
if you
okay,
wanted
that'd be
if you wanted
sick.
to do a playoff game, then you just let us know. And we can definitely arrange that.
It doesn't
'Cause
even
I was
matter if,
like-
like the Rangers. If the Rangers play us in the playoffs, it's still gonna be full.
Yeah,
'cause
I mean,
they all live here.
They all live in Cary, bro. The concentrated area of relocated Yankees, bro.
Okay, because I was like, I heard something about that, but I didn't know how true it was.
Man, people blow that mess out of
It definitely
proportion.
it is true,
They-
and
they
it's
do-
like
They do it,
it
but they
happens
were
with a bunch of teams.
yeah. Every team does that, especially when it's a rivalry game. Like,
I'd
some
love to see
teams-
Florida, how empty that barn is.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, if you're playing, well, I guess if you're playing the Rangers or Devils, it doesn't matter because Durham and Cary and Apex in that area is going to be all your Rangers and Devils fans, anyways.
Mhm.
So,
gonna say-
interestingly, when he was talking earlier about the Metro teams, though, I noticed that Philadelphia got mentioned before New York and Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So I guess that to me is a hot take. I think
Been saying, watch out for Philly.
I think the Islanders are better than the Flyers this year, but that could just be me.
I
I
don't
think
know.
so, man. They lost Noah Dobson. They have
Yeah,
like
but they have Elias Sorokin compared to whoever in the God's green earth the Flyers have right now.
Not Carter Hart.
Carter Hart, future King. Actually, we should talk about that.
No,
Michael
do not
McLeod
say
and
future
Carter
King.
Hart.
We do not need to talk about future King Carter Hart because we just listened to Walt talk about how we have 6 deep at goaltending, plus Frolov, who's going to be coming up. We do not need Carter Hart. We do not need
I
the
still want him,
baggage.
though.
We do not need the baggage that comes along with that.
But I mean, I saw a thing about it.
Carter Hart wasn't even that good. But, I mean, he wasn't even like a top 10 goalie when he was playing.
Well, he was playing on Philadelphia, though.
It doesn't matter.
People
I
still
don't
saw
know.
the value of what's his name? Gibson. Yeah, they saw the value of John Gibson when he was on the Ducks, and like he was clearly valued even though he played on a bad team. So like,
Yeah.
I don't think Carter. I think the Carter Hart thing is completely blown out of proportion simply because of the legal troubles and stuff. So yeah, he's coming back. Who's gonna sign him? Like the guy hasn't played a pro hockey game and how long at this point? He was
2 years.
yeah, and he was a decent goaltender. But do we really think that the offset and picking him up is worth the baggage that comes with it too?
no.
I think the baggage aspect of everything's blown out of proportion because there's a lot of casual fans. I think it's mostly in the States that don't know about that don't care about that. You know what I mean?
No, they do.
But if you go to like,
they do. People in the States here will see whatever they'll see the 6 players, and immediately start hating on whichever team they're on because that stuff in the US, stuff like that is taken so seriously, and as soon as it hits mainline news, there's like no forgiving it, especially right now.
The other thing that I have to say about Carter Hart is that I watched the Adam Gold show as well. He had something to say on this. Carter Hart is actually currently favored to go out west. The team he said was Utah is actually looking for him. So that's
Why?
interesting.
Why?
I don't
Utah?
know.
Because Carter Hart. I mean, is Carter Hart better than Connor Ingram? And he's not better than Karel Vamilka.
Ingram's hurt though. He's out.
Okay, so Hart would be the backup behind Karel Vamilka there.
And then the other player that he was talking about, of course, that was involved in allegations was McLeod, who he says was currently favored in going to Ottawa.
Yeah, that makes more sense than us. Why would we pick him up? We're 14 deep at NHL ready forwards at this point.
We don't need more.
Yeah,
we don't need to beat Toronto.
Speaking
of Toronto, have they done anything with their forwards?
We've got Tyson Jost and Briley Nadeau sitting in minors. We do not need to bring up McLeod. We're good.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was a little confused. I was more looking forward to the goaltending aspect, just because, like I said, I thought we needed like three good goalies. I know Primo showed like what Walt was saying, but I don't know. I still prefer Carter Hart over like Kochetkov, if that makes sense.
I don't, because I think Kochetkov has more upside. If we ever get Kochetkov to a point where he is consistent and he plays at his Pyotr Kochetkov at his best, let's just say everyone's playing their best version of hockey. Pyotr Kochetkov is a top 10 goalie in the NHL.
If he consistently plays his best.
When he is on his game, he is a top 10 peak in the NHL. You know, there's 2 types of goalies. You have your positional goalies and your athletic goalies. Freddie Anderson is a positional goalie. If he tries to do something athletic, something bad happens.
Tear his leg or something.
Pyotr is probably the best of the athletic goalies in the league right now.
The diving poke checks, yeah.
Yeah, the poke checks.
There's more than that.
He flies around everywhere.
He's roaming.
He can move. He moves better than just about anyone. Problem is, sometimes you need to settle for a single instead of trying to hit a home run.
Yeah.
It's the risk. It's the risk he takes. So there will be, if there's a goaltender, 10-to-goal moments with him. Unfortunately, There will likely be those.
I don't like bringing in Carter Hart. Honestly, I think Freddie Anderson's better than Carter Hart. I think Piotr's on par with him. Yes, Freddie Anderson's probably done in like 1 to 2 to 3 years.
I'd rather not deal with that situation with Hart. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's other options. That if you bring in Carter Hart, what are you saying to guys like Frolov or Kashkev or all these guys that we've drafted and brought in? We've brought in so many goalies. And, Primo's going to want an NHL spot at some point.
Likely.
Because he's done it before.
I feel like Primo's that Spencer Martin type of guy we have.
He's
like
an
starter
I think he's an
in the
upgrade
end
over.
and-
He's an upgrade over Spencer Martin. He's also young.
Well, no, but you know what I mean, like a Spencer
kinda
Martin
guy.
type
Yeah,
of guy.
he's your number 3,
Yeah.
number 1A guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Spencer Martin's not that good. He had a
Spencer-
couple good games though.
Yeah,
I will say that.
He shut out Ottawa. I mean, we were the first team, I think, maybe ever to have 4 goaltenders with a shutout in the same season.
I didn't even know that.
That was last year? Because I believe,
Tokarski got a shutout.
Freddie, Piotr, Tokarski, and Martin.
They did.
All got one.
I didn't know that Tokarski.
Tokarski was great. Like, what a story that was last year.
What happened to him? Where'd he go?
Oh, he was just a 1-year thing, as he kind of should be. Like,
So,
yeah.
sorry, I'm just looking at stuff. I just saw a post by the Carolina Hurricanes that was posted about 4 hours ago from Nikishin's hit last night. And a Panthers fan commented on it. And he said, as a Panthers fan, watching him last year in the playoffs, you guys have an absolute future stud. Reminds me of Zadorov, but more mobile. But then he also said, yes, absolutely better. I can see him being an offensively Sergachev and a defensively Mortiz Sider. What do you think of that as a comparison for Nikishin?
I mean, not to say that's low, but potential-wise, I've seen some crazy comps for Nikishin, potential-wise.
Didn't you say that his comp, like, at one point was Cale Makar?
Yes. Like, I've seen people say his pro comp is Cale Makar, just with a different play style, which I could see that. I mean, Cale Makar, like, one of the best offensive defensemen in the league, and solid defensively.
But Nikishin's more physical. That's why I don't agree with the Cale Makar.
That's the only. Well, I don't think there's. I mean, if you look at offense, defense, and physicality, there really is no comp for him right now.
There's
not.
He is the comp.
there is no defenseman in the league right now that does all 3 of them. Like, if you, let's just say you averaged them out of 10, right? So, like, 10 is like best in the league, 0 is worst in the league. There's not a guy who's going to be averaging 7s or higher in all 3 of them, except for Nikishin, I believe. If he hits his potential. It's a big if. But
also, speaking of his potential, in NHL 26, they gave him a low top 4 as his potential. Yeah. Not even elite. Not even a medium
low
top
4.
Low top 4 potential.
What an idiotic thing for them to do.
And get this too, Nadeau, medium top 9. They're not even worth anything. What is EA doing? Anyway, sorry, that's a whole topic for another day. But
It's because they're trying to keep us, like, on the low radar because they think we're going to be bad in the future.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly
the team that's been in the playoffs the last 7 years with all of their core locked up for like 8 years and prospects who are playing good in the A every year is going to be bad. What a genius thing to think.
Sounds like the Rangers
I'd love to
must
see the
own
monkeys.
that.
Let me see the monkeys on the typewriters putting in the numbers for the EA ratings.
W Superman
Can we
reference,
make
by
that
the way.
a clip for a reel?
Am I wrong?
No.
I think it must be like a Rangers like fan that does EA stuff. I
It's
mean,
EA
I don't.
everywhere,
There's no
bro.
other solution.
There are guys in the Madden game that are completely ridiculous. Like Christian McCaffrey, a great player, should not be the number 1 or number 2 running back or whatever.
Well, it should be what? Derrick Henry and
Derrick Henry,
Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, but even then, he shouldn't be 3rd. Like
Derrick Henry should be going down. Let's be honest. He's fumbled way too many recently.
That's true. He's 3 fumbles in 3 games.
Oh, that's bad.
But back to the hockey thing, like
Sorry.
All good.
it's ridiculous. Not even the overalls. The overall numbers, whatever. But why are like
The potentials, man.
Alexander Nikishin is among the top, like I think top 3 for preseason
For
Calder
rookie.
favorites.
Yes.
Yeah.
How in the hell is he a low top 4
Low.
potential? Low
Yeah,
top. 4
Low
potential.
top 4.
I would love whatever. I would love to have whatever they're smoking over at EA.
Yeah, it was.
The answer is
they're-
nothing because then they get people
Oh,
to rage and then they get more content out of it.
No, and get this too. So the whole gimmick for NHL 26 was the realism of the ratings and the overalls and potential. And that was their selling point. And they give this guy, I think it was like a 79 low top 4. So
79
they're
on
projecting
your
him. Yeah, they're projecting him to be like a nobody on the back end. And it's like this guy's the like rookie of the year campaign right now.
What did they give
Like-
Demidov? They probably gave him like an 85.
85 high elite.
It's Montreal. If they go wrong with them, then everyone will cry. They can get away with it for the Hurricanes because we have a small market.
Small market team. I swear, I'm so
Hey,
sick.
hey. I'm fine with that because that one phrase right there landed us Nikolai Ehlers. So
It did, and it also decreases ticket prices. Thank goodness.
very true.
Speaking
Yeah,
of,
I'm not excited to go to the game here against the Rangers, the Canes.
well, you're gonna come to a game in Raleigh at some point. Again, we'll fly you on. Hurricane Grimm's 1129 said, "Why Spirit Airlines? Spirit Airlines because they're cheap. Okay. We'll fly. We'll figure out a way to get you on some budget airliner. You won't have to worry about finding a place to stay or getting a car because we can cover that stuff. Probably.
You can stay at my
Okay,
apartment and sleep
Yeah.
on the couch
So
if you really need to.
all you'd really realistically have to cover would be like the round trip flight, and honestly, we could probably like the ticket we could figure out.
Like, I mean, the ticket to probably fly there is probably the same price as a Leafs ticket to watch a game.
I
Just
mean,
to fly to
what-
Carolina.
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think a round trip ticket from Toronto to Raleigh would be on an airliner of your choosing?
Last time I checked, I think it was $600, like 300 there, 300 back.
Holy cow! Yeah, you must be looking at like flying on Trump's plane or something.
Well, it's Canadian, right? So that's like 250 for you guys.
500
That's
is a
still a
lot for a
lot.
round trip.
This is, let's see,
I mean,
Raleigh, Durham to Toronto. Oh, that's Air Canada. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Let's do cheapflights.com. There we go.
Cheapflights.com.
again,
Find deals.
That's
Let's see.
fine
I don't
Um,
want to die.
If it wasn't so close, I would tell you to come on the Do y'all celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada?
Yep, October.
Oh, yours
I
is
don't know, it's not the
October.
same as you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving Eve for us, we play the New York Rangers at Raleigh, and I will be there. I don't know what day that is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Jack, see if see if we can figure out.
sorry, I'm looking at flights right now.
Hey, Jack, look at flights for around, I believe. Go Tuesday, November 25th.
Oh, come on. It's already loading for like the next like recent time frame.
Tuesday, November 25th, and then you can fly out the 27th or 28th.
That makes
Oh
no
my
sense. What the heck? What
Lord.
flying
Look,
to Toronto?
this is riveting content, guys. You are going to meet Sean at some point, and so
That
are
does
we.
not make any sense.
What doesn't?
Holy balls. What? It's like $800. This is not right. I'm going to go to another like airline or something. I don't know. This is probably just bad.
$800. Good.
It makes no sense to me. Hold up. It was a weird website. So, okay, let's find a better website.
Hey, what other
$49 round trip to Toronto. See, that's what we're talking about.
$49 round trip?
Where are you seeing that?
Tripinsider.com. Is there
Oh,
a different?
I see it. 59. Okay.
Oh,
Did
it
you put in
says-
did you put in those dates, Jack?
Depart. What do you want the depart date to be?
Like to come here?
Yeah.
Let's say Tuesday, November 25th.
Tuesday. Okay.
And then
We'll do the
leave-
return date. It's a week later.
Not a week later.
Tuesday.
You don't want to you don't want. You probably don't want to hang out for a week.
I would be fine with that, but that's if my
Because
roommates
you've
are
got-
fine with it, which
you've
I
got
don't. I
school
wouldn't care.
stuff and all that.
That's just around finals. That's the only problem. And Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I've seen.
Could you do like
What the?
the Tuesday through like a Thursday? You think?
Probably, yeah.
So
Tuesday to Thursday,
do
25 to 27.
yeah, you could do 25 to 27 or 25 to 28. I don't know what the 27th is gonna look like in terms of flights because that is Thanksgiving for us. So you might.
Well,
have
we
it-
can figure this out later too. It's okay.
Well, no, this is good content. I'm sure people are enjoying this.
For sure.
This is
Yeah.
something different too.
What in the heck?
We're figuring out how much money to set up for the. We're figuring out what to ask for.
Why
the
did it take me
GoFundMe.
back to cheap flights? I don't want to be there.
We can start a GoFundMe.
Start a
Let's see.
GoFundMe
Is
to
this
get
the?
Sean-
Yeah,
Sean
here we
to
go.
his
Here we go.
First home Hurricanes game.
There's the lowest one I see right now. It has 3 stops, but it's 459.
Is that round trip?
That's a round, yeah.
Dude, there you go. That's not bad.
But it's like 3
Yeah.
stops, so it's from 11:39 to 7:10 because you have to stop at 3 different airports.
World traveler. I've never minded that.
19 hours and 31 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Anyways, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we'll
I
figure that.
don't-
We'll keep tabs on that. We'll let
But-
you guys know.
The direct flights
see a
right there,
good
like you
one
could do
for
600 for
400.
American.
Holy, 8 hours? Damn.
To what? To Raleigh?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
just talk. We'll talk to some people and figure out flights. I don't know how it works, so we'll just figure that out.
If there are any people watching this right now that work for major airliners, please let us know.
And just slip us a free ticket, please. You're like, oh no, he's supposed to be on here. His dad works for the airlines.
Okay.
His dad's the pilot.
Post from NHL headlines 2 minutes ago. Carter Hart is narrowing down his options with the Carolina Hurricanes,
Aw.
Vegas Golden Knights, and 2 other teams among those still in the mix. As of October 1st, Hart and the other 4 October 1st. That doesn't make any sense. The 4 acquitted players will be eligible to sign with any NHL team.
Okay, so they can't sign yet, and they also can't play till December.
Correct. So Carolina's still in on him. And 2 other teams.
That just
along
tells
with
me they
Vegas.
don't have faith in Kochetkov.
That's what I've been saying.
I think we're just trying. No, I think this is a Tulski thing. I think Tulski's trying to draw the media attention to that and be like, oh, look at this. Well, he works on something else in secret. Because he never works publicly out loud. Nobody knew about the Miko stuff at all. Like,
That's true.
he's using this as a distraction, probably. You're like, hey, look over at this.
Yeah.
So there's something going on. But we don't know what it is.
Okay.
And that's the best part about Carolina because I have no clue what's happening half the time.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try and wrap this stream on up. I'll give everybody another chance to put your questions in the chat. We will stay on for a few more minutes to answer those, and then we're gonna go ahead and sign on off for the night, for the day. Sorry, not the night. I'm so used to the 8:45 Monday streams, man. This feels different.
It is different. Very different. But I'm glad we did a stream this week.
Me too.
The streams are so much fun. Especially when you get, Walt Ruff to join you and talk Hurricane stuff.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Huge shout out to him, by the way. I mean, helping out smaller content creators that are getting started like that is just such a nice gesture from someone who really, probably lacks the time to do many of those things.
Well, I mean, even he said he was pretty like open today because of the whole training camp. So it was pretty.
Yeah, that's
cool.
actually why I tried to schedule today, because we had a game yesterday and a game tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, we gotta do Tuesday.
Yeah. Also, just random thing I just saw. Apparently, Callaway hooked up Nikolai Ehlers with Carolina Hurricanes themed golf clubs.
Nice, dude.
Thank you, Hurricanes Report, for telling me this interesting information.
Huge W.
I think that's kind of fire. I like that he's posted, like, Hurricanes Report, like, was very, like, apt on, like, hockey stuff for a while. Now he's posting some, like, different stuff, and I like it. Like, the 6'7" Slavin thing, and then, this, and just some of the stuff recently. It's been, like, a little bit, like, lax. Like, I know he's posted about the Panthers before, but he made a couple of posts on his story about it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say it one
That's
more
pretty
time,
cool.
guys. If you are not currently subscribed to the Carolina Craziacs YouTube channel, Alexander Nikishin will be at your house in less than 24 hours to hip check you. So make sure
And
you
it'll be
subscribe.
bang.
Make sure you
Boom.
subscribe. Or if you're not a Carolina Hurricanes fan and you don't subscribe, your favorite team will go 0-82 this season.
You hear
Oh,
that?
I mean, that's
we'll be-
probably only the Pittsburgh fans.
And
watching.
we'll get third in the draft lottery because, you can't have nice things.
No, but if it's Pittsburgh, they probably will.
Yeah.
Or Boston.
They'll drop to 4.
It'll probably be Nashville would be the team that wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't mind Seattle getting it.
That's interesting. I haven't thought of that. Anyways,
I don't really like Seattle.
topics for another time.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for the special edition stream. Really hope you guys enjoyed all the content today. Learned quite a bit. And again, we are 17 days-ish from Canes opening night. Maybe even probably less than that. So
17. Ivan
15.
Rabkin.
We're 16 days.
16 days from opening night for the Carolina Hurricanes against the New Jersey Devils, meaning there will be 2 more streams between now and then.
Yep.
And
We'll keep updating you on the preseason,
Well-
anything that's going on,
yep,
anything in camp,
Instagrams.
any updates on anything. Just stay tuned. Give us a follow on Instagram. That's where I post consistently. We keep up with all of the things going on recently. Twitter is also a good place for that. And of course, the YouTube will continue making videos.
Yep, everything's ramping up. We will be continuing to ramp up the production, and we're going to make sure this is the best season for Carolina Hurricanes and NHL content. Thank you guys for watching. Stay crazy, guys, and peace out.